Well, within the academic world, it's dog eats man, man eats dog world, really. It's hostile. It's subtle. It's a bit different. They quote it with some degree of intellectualism and have a way of, undermining you and undermining your capacity to even get to that point where you are able to remind yourself, I got here based on merit. I didn't get here as a result of, help. I have struggled with it. And frankly, I thank God that I'm a Christian. If it's not for my understanding of the word and what God thinks about me, it would be a horrible, horrible experience. Like some of you do know, I used to lecture in a university back in the UK, and I was held in a particular position for a pretty long time, which really informed my desire to emigrate and relocate here. And I remember when I was having a chat with my dean, and she told me that you're due promotion to a reader level, which is back in the UK you have the lecturer, senior lecturer, reader, and the full professor level. You're due for a reader level, and it struck me. Yes, I have long been due for a reader level. Why am I not getting it? Why didn't I get it? And really, the only reason why I felt I couldn't get it, or I didn't get it at the point then, was the fact that I knew that they had not seen me as somebody that can quote and unquote represent them in the environment that they think a reader should represent them. And that is premised on the color of my skin.
And how do you feel over here?
Here, I will be frank that here is not much different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have always seen racism as it's a flaw in humanity. I come from a part of the world where our own terminology for racism is tribalism. The guy up north thinks the guy down south is subhuman, and the guy down south thinks the guy up north is subhuman. So I have been able to live within that remit. So Canada has not been any different to a large extent. I have met great people who I don't think are racist, and they're of the other color of skin. And I have met people who are of the other color of skin who pretend to be nice to me, and you know very clearly that they're not, mm-hmm. to you. And going down to what Pastor Sandra said about the systemic nature of racism, it's quite interesting, because when you were saying that, I was just, smiling in my head. The system is designed in such a way that you can never beat it. Mm-hmm. You can't. That's just the way it's designed. And the only way to beat it is to have a parallel system that works with it. And it's very difficult to have a parallel system working with a system that's so soft. So in my own experience here, racism is real. Canada is as racist as the American society, in my opinion. It's the only thing is they're very British about it, within the context of they have a nice way of telling you go hang yourself, and you jolly well go do it without looking back. Whereas the American would tell you bluntly, go hang yourself. The British guy will probably tell you, can you do yourself a favor and string yourself up? Yeah. So it's the difference in the cultural display of racism. So I think Canada is, for me personally, I have struggled a bit getting to where I think I should be, not because I'm not qualified enough, but because of the system. The name, the color of my skin.
Mm-hmm. And Brother Ken, you said something, and in family systems theory, from a psychological perspective, in that when things are implicit, they're harder to identify and break.
Absolutely.
when they're
Absolutely.
explicit, you can
You
address
cannot
them more.
address them. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So in some ways we can say, even though there's all this unrest in America, at least they're explicit about that they're racist.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
We cover
Absolutely.
it up that we're not as a country, that we're multicultural, whatever that means. But it's just a veil to hide all the evils that lurk
Yeah.
underneath there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right on that. The implicit and explicit piece is what is
It
devastating,
would,
right?
absolutely, absolutely. And again, just to buttress that, there's nothing that kills a man or anybody. I mean, me for in case, as much as knowing fully well that you are not loved, but there is that sense of pretense that you're loved. It's like it's pulling you along, giving you that impression that don't worry, your time will come, and you know very well that you have been boxed. Nowhere for you. You ain't going nowhere. Whereas it's best you tell me you don't have a room here, you don't have a space here, and I know what to do, to get myself going, which is what the systemic racism that we refer to is all about. We might criticize America as much as we like, but at least it's given us the opportunity to expose the realities and debate it and talk about it and respond to it and look ourselves up. Whereas within the British context, a lot of things are swept under the carpet, and you have to deal with it in that sense by yourself and with yourself. So the explicit and implicit nature of racism is killing.